Hey there, AJ Bieber here at For Love and Money, the next level of relationships. And today it's just me, and I'm going to be presenting to you our class on how to reignite romance in order to rock your finances. And just to give you a little preface, this is not like our YouTube videos where we have bloopers and funny sounds and slides and all of those things. This is just me bringing the most passion and best information and content that I possibly can to share with you these tips and tricks that have worked for Will and I. And so please note that at some point in this video, I'm actually going to just look down at my paperwork and I'm going to start reading for you the way that it came in, because I know one day this will be a webinar, but for now, I don't want to sell you anything. I don't want to take up your time. I really just want to get to you clear information, and that's the intention of this video. All right, so let's dive right into this information. Today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you 3 things that you can apply right now, tonight, in your bedroom to be able to increase the amount of attraction that you feel and being able to attract more love and money into your life, not to mention your relationship. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain to you why it is that love and money are connected. Maybe some of you have read the book Think and Grow Rich, and there's a chapter in there all about sexual energy, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the difference between what sexual energy is, creative energy, the energy that attracts money and relationships into your life, and we're going to talk about sexuality, which is the act of sex and intimacy in your relationship. How do those two things correlate? How do you use the energy in order to manifest what it is that you desire as a couple or as a single? Because as a single, you may be wanting to attract your soulmate. As a couple, you may be wanting to rock out your finances and build your legacy. And that's what Will and I are here for, and that's what we want to share with you today. So this thing about sexual energy, it's very mysterious, isn't it? There's a lot of information out there that says you need to tap into it. There's not a lot of people telling you how to do it. So for today, I want to share with you 3 things that you can take away. And like I said, this is powerful information. I'm going to be looking down at my notes because this is the way that this information came through, and I want to be super concise. So for the next 10 minutes or so, you probably don't need to look at me. You can just set me on your counter and listen to what it is that I have to say, because I want to make sure that this is very powerful so that you can actually apply these tips and techniques tonight in your bedroom. In fact, at the very end, I'm going to share with you a tip that you can use tonight that will attract more love and money into your life, and I'm super excited to do so. So let's go ahead and dive into this. The first thing you need to know, and the first secret, is you must know your body. The second secret that I'm going to share with is you must know how to feel pleasure, okay? And then the third thing that we're going to cover is you must know your mind. And if you know these 3 concepts, then you will have a better understanding of what sexual energy is, how to apply it to your life, and how to rock out your finances in the bedroom. Are you so excited to jump into this? Because I am so excited to share it with you. And what I want you to do right now is just set me aside, because I'm going to be sitting here staring at this piece of paper and really intently trying to deliver the information as passionately and as fast as I possibly can so that you can take it in and apply it immediately. The first secret you need to know, even if you feel bored or boring in the bedroom, is you must know your body. Notice I did not say that the first secret was to have a perfect body in order to thoroughly enjoy every aspect of sex. And yet most people allow negative body judgments of themselves to keep themselves from actually enjoying the bedroom activities. Or they inaccurately think that there is something wrong with themselves because their body is what experiences sexual energy, right? It experiences an orgasm and they can't seem to feel it or experience it. Other people say, I'm just not that attracted to my partner's body, or they're not even attracted to their own body. I've even heard people make statements like, bodies and body parts are my least favorite thing about sex, as if that perception excludes them from being able to feel sexual energy. Now, to be fair, it's also true that our bodies are a part of sex. They are used as a tool during sex. And because this tool is necessary for the act, we often judge or give meaning to our bodies and body parts without really understanding the body's role in the act of sex. So for a moment, I want you to picture a couple having sex. Now, immediately what pops up in 99.9% of humans' brain is the vision of two people's bodies or body parts, right? The movies and the billion-dollar porn industry depict sex as this passionate experience between two perfectly proportioned bodies that are screaming in pleasure, depicting hot, passionate sex, giving us the idea that if we too have the perfect body, or our partner does, then that's all we need to do to have amazing sex and feel sexual energy. Well, I'm here to tell you that it is BS, okay, people? And these depictions of what Hollywood is doing to sex are not helping, because they are not teaching us how, okay, how to use our bodies in the act of intimacy with our partner, and specifically how to feel that kind of passionate experience. All they're doing is providing a visual, which, by the way, is a production. It's a marketed idea of what sex should be and what the general public buys into, and therefore we label our own sexual experiences in the bedroom by comparison. Perhaps this is one of the reasons why over 78% of couples want better sex. So if you find yourself in this statistic, you are not alone. Better sex is an experience directly related to your own mind and body, or what I call the connection of sexuality and spirituality, meaning the reality of what is happening inside your body and your mind during sex. So think about it. I'm sure you would agree that as try as you may, you cannot feel the mind-body experience of another individual. Therefore, for the purpose of this class, I want you to focus on sex as an act that only you, okay, you, are experiencing within your own body and mind. And that's it. And the first secret to how to reignite this romance in your relationship is you must know your body. So how do we get to know our bodies, this tool that we use during intimacy? The easiest way is to take the time to get to know your own body, okay? Your body's gonna be with you for a lifetime. Get to know it, get to know what makes you feel pleasure, and allow your body to guide you in the process. Truthfully, your body is yours and you don't need anyone's permission to touch it. And more importantly, enjoy it. So when you do this, you'll discover what your body specifically needs in order to feel maximum pleasure during the experience of intimacy with your partner. And this is the goal. In the act of sex, the general desired outcome is two people feeling pleasure in their bodies. Once you know your body and what brings you pleasure, then you can use your body during sex as a tool to experience this pleasure, this sexual arousal, or what I call sexual energy, okay? So let me explain it like this. I want you to picture a curling iron. And what is a curling iron, right? It's simply a tool that you use. So a curling iron isn't used to eat spaghetti. It isn't used to clean a windshield or do your laundry. It's a tool used primarily for the purpose of curling your hair. So what does a curling iron have to do with sex? Everything. I believe that the body, specifically during this act, is also a tool. And like the curling iron, it has one singular purpose. And that is to feel sexual energy, to experience pure, pleasurable energy. So just like a curling iron, it may take you a couple of times to use it in order to get used to it. But once you do, you use it, you pick it up, and you use it like a pro every time. And the same is true of your body and this act of sex. So why is this important to understand? Because when you begin to view your body from this perspective, you can stop labeling the experience of what sex should look like with your body, the visual, right? And start to focus more on what it feels like, because this is the gift that we give to one another, which leads to our second piece of this, and it's a big one. So if you're taking notes right now, I want you to write this down. And the second piece of being able to reignite the romance in order to feel the sexual energy and attract what it is that you desire in life, not to mention have better sex, is you must know how to feel pleasure. So this obviously seems pretty easy. Feel pleasure. Yet, how many people really allow themselves to feel immense amounts of pleasure? Like really let yourself go and trust in the experience and have that intimacy. We are really great at wanting to please everyone else, aren't we? But guess what? If you don't learn how to actually feel pleasure and please yourself and experience that within and give yourself that permission, it is going to be impossible, listen to my words, impossible to experience that hot, passionate, reignited romance type of sex that you're craving. And why is this? Because don't miss this, okay? We don't give another person pleasure. And we don't receive pleasure from another person. We only think that we do. And I want to repeat that because this is really big. We don't give another person pleasure and we don't receive pleasure from another individual. We only think that we do because what we're thinking and what we're feeling is our experience of this sexual experience, okay? So pleasure is not a give and take experience. This has to be the biggest misconception about sexual energy that is out there. And I know that you're arguing with me right now. I know in your mind you're saying, that's not true. Sex is about making the other person feel good. It's about connecting with them, loving them, giving them pleasure, and receiving pleasure from them. And this is what makes the experience so wonderful. Well, let's break down that psychology of that idea for a moment, shall we? Because what is it about wanting to please your partner that translates into this loving connection of sex? Well, I'm going to give you a hint. Something about pleasing others pleases you, okay? So think about it. When you want to touch someone and give someone else the pleasure in some way, how are you also benefiting from that experience? Well, you're enjoying sensing your partner in pleasure, knowing that you had some part in it. Maybe it turns you on to see someone else in this state of pleasure. Sometimes people even use this giving pleasure as a way of justifying actually receiving pleasure and feeling good themselves. There are so many reasons why we think we give pleasure and receive pleasure from others, but it's a lie. And it's a huge lie. And if we are to build our sex life on this shaky ground, it will come crumbling down at the first sign of someone not being pleased. Because what happens when the person isn't reciprocating? Happens in that situation when they're not reciprocating. Or you're sick and tired of your partner working long hours and coming home late and they want sex and get frustrated and not give it to them because it's your way of saying, please me first. Can you see how this lie is starting to destroy your sex life and bring boredom and not to mention resentment into the bedroom and the relationship real quick? And that's because the truth is only you can choose to feel pleasure in your own body because nobody else feels it for you. And this is phenomenal news because no one else gets to control the amount of pleasure you experience, but you. You get to control the amount of it, okay? So you are the only one experiencing pleasure or not experiencing pleasure. You control the level of sexual energy you desire to experience because feeling pleasure is all about allowing the energy to flow and being open to feeling energy in your body. So if you can feel this pleasure by yourself as you are getting to know your body, there is really no difference in experiencing it with a partner in the act of sex. But what if you can't shut your mind off? What if you are afraid to lose yourself? What if you have judgments about what your partner will think of you? What if you have shame or guilt or inaccurate beliefs that inhibit you from really experiencing this pleasure? What if you find yourself in bed vacillating between, should I focus on them or should I be focusing on me? Well, let's regress for just a moment. Remember what we discovered in secret number 1, and that is pleasure or sexual energy is an experience and it's an energy happening inside of you. You cannot feel another person's pleasure, so guess what? You are not responsible for another person's pleasure during the act of sex. You can only speculate that your partner is experiencing pleasure, and this is affecting your own. But if your focus during the act of sex is placed on they should be pleasing me or I should be pleasing them, you're never going to experience the ability to just lose yourself in the experience. And this is the gift that we have in our relationships. So unless perhaps you are communicating about it, and who really wants to spend time in the bedroom getting out the laundry list of this is what I need you to do to pleasure me, okay? This is not the type of hot, passionate, reignite the romance kind of thing that we're talking about. So what's the one thing that you have control over? That is feeling pleasure within your own body and allowing this energy to move through you in waves to really experience it. So I'd like to give a big old thank you to Hollywood and the billion-dollar porn industry for showing us once again visually that is so easy to feel pleasure. I hope you catch my sarcasm on this. They give us great visuals of what pleasure looks like and sounds like. But when are they going to teach us what it's actually supposed to feel like? And on some level, they do teach us this. And what it is it has to do with our mind. And that's what I'm going to go into right now. Because if we allow ourselves to feel sexual energy, feel pleasure in the body while viewing this act of sex on TV or screen, mentally experiencing it, then we can actually feel it in the body. But I want to pause right here for just a moment and talk to the gentlemen in this group. Because if there are any gentlemen that are addicted to pornography, this is the reason why. And the reason why is there is a visual stimulus that is making you feel energy in the body. So what's happening is you're feeling this power of attraction, you're feeling sexual energy, and you think you have to have this visual in order to make it happen. And I'm here to tell you that you don't. You can have it from nature, you can have it in your partner, you can have it, it's all around us. Sexual energy is a part of life. And this is what I'm so passionate about and want to explain a little bit more of. But think about that for a moment. It's what's going on in your own mind. It's what's going on in your own body. Okay, I'm going to jump off my soapbox. So next, what I want you to take from this is that you actually feel the sexual arousal or pleasure in your body. So for instance, us ladies, if you were Kelly McGillis, right, on the scene in Top Gun, making love to Tom Cruise, Take My Breath Away, oh my gosh, you would feel that attraction, the ripping off of your clothes. In fact, just thinking about that scene right now makes my body feel a lot better than doing laundry, okay? So what do I mean by this? Stay with me on this. What I mean is I want to explain this by asking you a question. What if your mind was like a TV screen? If this is possible, then I'm here to tell you that it is. What if this pleasurably projected in your own mind could actually create the same pleasure in your body without the movies and without the billion-dollar industry that's all about marketing and getting you addicted so you can give them more money? If this is possible, and I am here to tell you that it is, it leads to our third secret, which is, if you're taking notes, the third secret of how to have this reignite the romance in order to rock your finances is you must know your own mind. Remember, we talked about how sex is a mind-body connection. We figured out how it is that we get to know our body and use it in order to feel pleasure, and most importantly, to give ourselves permission to feel this, right? So are you starting to see the connection? Perhaps this intimacy and passionate romance that you experience with your partner isn't about the act of sex or even about your partner, but about your own body feeling pleasure and the connection to what is going on in your own mind. So right now, if you are feeling bored or boring in the bedroom, you may be saying this type of stuff to yourself. Yeah, but I don't even desire to have sex with my partner. My partner doesn't even seem interested in me anymore, or I'm really not interested in them, yada, 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 yada. Well, let me ask you this. What if tomorrow, the lover of your dreams, that one person who has played on your mind, maybe it's a celebrity, maybe it's somebody you know, maybe it's someone who gets you excited sexually, brings up sexual energy of attraction, You picture this person in your mind for a moment, and they walk in your bedroom, and you've been given this hall pass from the universe to be able to do anything you want with this person. Sit with that pleasurable thought for just a moment. And now I'm going to ask you a question. What is the difference between sex with that person and sex with your partner? I know you probably can think of a lot of different things, but you may quick to say everything, right? This mental lover you are experiencing right now is fun, energetic, gorgeous, spontaneous. You can fill in the blank with any adjective you want. But most likely you would say that my partner is boring, or I'm boring, or this is boring, or there's not something here. Well, really, what is the difference? You are two bodies having sex. Why would you have more perceived pleasure with this mental lover than you would with your physical partner? Well, I'll tell you the answer, and it's all in your mind. So suddenly, all right, your mental lover's here. There's no labels, no stories to this person, no history. It's all new, it's all fresh, it's all exciting, and this turns you on in your mind. So what's the difference? Here's your partner, comes home. This person you have a history with, you have irritations with, you have frustrations with. And so you have these painful ideas that are mulling around in your mind when it comes to your partner. That's really the difference. Maybe you've even attached some kind of story to your partner. And this happens a lot with people who consider themselves bored or boring in the bedroom. And that is, I'm not good enough in bed to please my partner. It's selfish to use their body for my pleasure. What if they didn't enjoy it? Perhaps they don't like sex anymore and they don't like me. What if they want to be with somebody else? What if I want to be with somebody else? And on the stories go in the mind. Actually, here's a huge news flash for you. Are you ready? When two people choose to have sex, it's called consent. They are doing it because they enjoy the act and the act of feeling pleasure in their own bodies. And yet, this is the biggest lie we can believe, that we are responsible for someone else's pleasure during sex, and that someone else experiencing pleasure or not experiencing pleasure is the measure of a great lover we are. This is where I'd put in that huge buzzer, okay? Wrong. We are each responsible for the pleasure in our own bodies and our minds. Did you hear that? We're each responsible for the pleasure in our minds. And if our minds are what's creating the pleasure in the body, then we got to start here. So, where was I at? We're each responsible for the pleasure in our own bodies and our minds. So think of it this way. What if you just had crazy sex and you're losing yourself in pleasure in your body and your partner just lays there? Is that such a horrible thing? No, because it's not your responsibility to give them the pleasure, and it's your responsibility to show them how it's done. And when somebody else is really allowing themselves to feel it, that's actually what's giving permission for the other to experience the same. And that's a really deep level of vulnerability and authenticity, isn't it? But that's the stuff that relationships are made of. And that's the stuff that when you feel that kind of energy in your relationship and in your bedroom, you build that energy in your body, you can attract things faster than you could possibly ever imagine. And I believe that's the reason why sexuality is a weapon used against relationships. But I'll get into that another time. So let's stay with this. And so what do I mean by this? If you find yourself with painful thoughts in the mind, okay, stories that you are attaching to past sexual experiences or experiences to your partner, stop the freaking madness. It's your responsibility. You're in control of your mind, and immediately get to know your mind. So remember that movie screen that we talked about. Well, guess what? That movie screen works in two ways, my friends. And so what do I mean by this? I mean that one side of the movie screen shows you scenes of pleasure in order for you to feel the pleasure in your body, kind of like that escapade we just talked about. Or you can flip the screen and it can show you pain. It can show you all of these horrible things about your body, the stories you're attaching to without any validity. Your negative perceptions of yourself, your partner, or the experience. And these thoughts and stories or memories surface and you've become a slave to them. Because really, what we don't control the thoughts that come into our mind, do we? They just enter. But we do have control of how we attach to those thoughts and how those thoughts attach to us. And in this experience, how it is that they affect the sexual energy in our bodies. So when you become a slave to these thoughts, stories, or memories in your mind, boom, there's pain in the mind, right? So here's the big secret, and I don't want you to miss this. Write this down. Pleasure in the mind equals pleasure in the body. Pain in the mind equals pain in the body. And the mind is the control center of our sexual energy. And this is the beauty. We have full control over it. So when we know our own mind, we then can control the pleasure of sexual energy in our body. It's really that simple. So how do you know your mind? Well, you observe your own thoughts about yourself, your partner, the experience, and you embrace the reality of it. So if you're feeling or thinking these painful scenes, then what you do is you choose to flip the screen and you change those thoughts into pleasurable thoughts. What most people do is they actually try to block the pain and they don't want to feel it. They don't want to look at it. But you can't do that. Pain is there. It's a channel of communication. That's a whole nother level of another topic that I could talk about another time. What most people do is they try to block the pain. They try to mask it with alcohol or let the pain guide and control their lives and therefore their bodies. So they're not feeling sexual energy. But the truth is, if you are blocking the energy of pain, you are also blocking the energy of pleasure. Did you get that? The body does not know the difference. In the end, it's all just energy. It's all just a channel of communication. And the body communicates with us in two ways. It's either pain or it's pleasure. We are the ones actually labeling the energy because of the stories in our mind. So what you can do is you can recognize that when you allow yourself to believe and attach to those painful movies in your head, the stories that you've attached to, you are blocking yourself from pleasure in your body that you were made to experience in the act of sex. And not just sex, people, but all of life. Because I believe that what happens in the bedroom translates out into other areas of our lives. And that's why love and money are connected. So this pleasurable and sexual energy you have, this God-given right to, it's what sex was made for, is to enjoy. When you can use it properly, it can actually be used to create what it is that you desire in life. Because you are feeling this pleasure, this definition of sexual energy. So give yourself the gift of pleasure in your mind in order to feel it in your body. You deserve it. And when you are really feeling this in your body, you're in this ecstasy, I'm pretty sure your partner will be just fine, okay? Since this is the number one turn on of any sexual partner, is knowing that the other person is enjoying it. So does this sound familiar? Here's a quick do it tonight tip, because I know we've gone over a lot of stuff here, but I want to leave you with something that you can, boom, apply right now in your bedroom tonight. So here's the tip. It's what I call the afterglow experience. It's true that some people get bored and boring because of the time and energy it takes to feel aroused or even access that sexual energy. Let's just be honest with one another. We got kids, we got jobs, we got laundry, we got so many things going on in our lives. But when it comes time to have sex, you want to be able to feel sexual energy. And a lot of times people can't just tap right into it. But I'm going to share with you the secret to how to do that right now. So things like work, household duties, kids, right? This causes blocks to our sexual energy because we've already learned that pain going on in the mind is causing the same pain in the body. So what can you do to change this? Well, one of the things that Will and I do to practice this is what I call an afterglow experience. So once again, I am consenting to have sex with my husband, meaning we want to experience pleasure together. That's what sex is about. Yet the kids just got to bed, I have a laundry list a mile high, and I have to switch about having sex with my husband when I'm not even in the mood, meaning I'm not feeling it. So something's got to switch up here. Well, I made this deal with my husband, and you can make this deal with your partner as well, that anytime you consent to having sex, you will do so to experience pleasure, okay? He doesn't use my body, and I don't play games with sex as a punishment. These are all painful stories that we create in our mind. And I don't have sex to experience pain, and neither should you. I have it to experience pleasure, and we already covered that there is only one person responsible for that pleasure. So what do? I allow myself to feel this pleasure during sex. And if my husband happens to finish before I connect, the pact is that we stay together, him right by my side in the act, and the act is not finished the moment he finishes. It's finished when we both connect to this pleasure in our bodies and minds. And this is the definition of sex for us. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It doesn't matter what it takes, because our pact is when we join into that and we consent that both of us are in pleasure, regardless when it happens. So many times my husband will massage or kiss my body or talk to me or connect in some way as I'm connecting to pleasure, as I bring myself to this pleasurable state of mind and body ecstasy. And this is what I call the afterglow experience, because let's face it, ladies, we have the capacity to feel this pleasure for hours, days, and why wouldn't we? Because when we learn how to continually experience sexual energy, the pleasure in the bedroom, then this translates to us allowing to experience the same kind of pleasure in our lives and outside of the bedroom, be it relationships, career, opportunities, etc. It allows us to give ourselves permission to feel pleasure at any time. This is the beauty of a relationship. You can learn it together, experience it together. This is what it is. So the afterglow experience did these two things for our relationship, and it can do these two things for you too, even tonight. Number one, because I've done this so often, I can drop into pleasure like that. It's something that I know my body so well, and I know how to feel pleasure. So it's made me experience it faster. So the second benefit of this is that I can switch gears from work to bedroom in an instant. And that is without hesitation, because I know that both of us are going to experience pleasure. This is what we've created this experience for, and we're responsible for it in our own body. So it takes that pressure off of either one of us to provide. And then what happens is we're both extremely satisfied in the experience, and we can't wait for the next encounter. It's something that we look forward to. All right, so there you go. You've got all the information for how it is that you can tap into your sexual energy in reigniting your romance to rock your finances. So I hope this has been super helpful for you. If so, please like it, please share it with somebody. This is important information. Also, I've also provided a couple free resources. Number one is my book. It's You and I Inc., The Connection of Sexuality and Spirituality. And you can go to my website and there's a link where you can download the book for free if you read digital copies. Otherwise, you can purchase it there for $9.95. Actually, it might even be $6.95. I can't remember. But otherwise, you have to go to Barnes & Noble or Amazon or whatever. You can get it out there too. So again, my book. The other resource is my website, which is www.ajbieber.com. And if you get on there, there's a lot of information about sexual energy, about how to trust your partner, about intimacy. And if you're someone who wants to take this further, if you're somebody who's like, yeah, I want to learn about sexual energy and I want to apply it to my life, I want to apply it to my relationships, and I want to take my life to the next level, then that's what Will and I are here for. And we'd love to have a private conversation with you about that and share with you the tools that we've created over the years. So thank you so much for letting me share. I know this is a very intimate conversation, and you've allowed me into your space, and I really want to honor that and thank you for that. And I look forward to our next class together.